Welcome to Theobodium, and welcome to my second WandaVision theory of the day. If you haven't seen the other one, this is kind of unrelated, so it doesn't matter if you haven't seen the other one. But if you are curious about the subject matter of whether Quicksilver, Vision, and the twins will continue to be in the MCU, then you can check out that video because I give my thoughts on it. In this video, however, I want to talk about how WandaVision pertains more to the subject of mutants. So obviously, it's pretty common knowledge now, I think, at this point, that the X-Men and the concept of mutants is going to be introduced into the MCU at some point. Now, Wanda has some experience in this area, but quite the opposite in her famous line, "No more mutants." Though, as Matt Bat said in his film theory video about WandaVision, it seems very likely that in this case it's going to be something more along the lines of "Bring on the mutants." Though, based on what I saw in episode 6, I'm not exactly sure that I think she's going to say "bring on the mutants," and more that she's going to accidentally create mutants. In episode 6, a particular scene jumped out to me when Monica Rambeau tried to go back into the energy field where Wanda was. And in response, Darcy said something about how her DNA was being rewritten, and that going in again would possibly cause some serious damage to her. That jumped out at me and made me start thinking, well, maybe she's going to end up with superpowers, and made me start thinking, well, maybe Wanda is causing a mutation in her. Maybe this reality bubble will cause mutants. Maybe certain people inside this reality bubble will become mutants and have mutant powers. But then I was thinking, well, that wouldn't make any sense because it's just Westview, right? There's just this town of Westview, and all the mutants probably wouldn't come from just one little town. But at the end of the episode, whenever Vision was basically dying outside her reality, Wanda decided to expand her reality. And it didn't actually show the field stop moving, but it did show Wanda's eyes stop glowing, which implies that the field stopped expanding, but she made it a lot bigger. Now, in conjunction with this, I don't remember if it's from the House of M story. Again, watch the film theory video, he has a lot more information about all of this. But in that video, he mentions a particular comic book where Wanda has created an entire new Earth reality, and understandably, the superheroes of Earth are not very happy with her, and then she ends it by saying "no more mutants," and she basically just deletes the mutants from existence. Now, what I'm beginning to think after seeing her hex expand massively, what I'm beginning to think now is that the radiation that they keep talking about and just the effects of being in her reality are in fact getting people to change, and possibly turning people into mutants. And it's not going to be just the town of Westview, because it's quite possible that her reality might at some point expand to go over the entire planet Earth. And that's what I'm thinking might happen. I'm thinking by the end of the show, her reality will encompass the entirety of Earth and rewrite many people's DNA throughout the entire planet, turning them into mutants. And maybe Wanda will stop having this reality on Earth, or maybe the show will just end with everyone being trapped in their reality. But at some point in time, presumably her reality will collapse, and what will be left is a world with people who have been changed, people who have become mutants. That is what I'm thinking is going to happen, that she's not necessarily going to say "bring on the mutants," but that she is going to accidentally bring on the mutants. It's also worth mentioning that I've heard theories going around that this could also cause the Fantastic Four, which I think is also a possibility. But given the circumstances of the House of M storyline and the ending of episode 6 with her expanding field, I have a feeling that it's going to affect a lot more than just 4 people when it comes to mutations. Now, that's not saying it won't cause the Fantastic Four. I do think that it would be perfectly possible that they could classify the Fantastic Four as mutants in this universe, and they both come from the same place. However, further evidence to say that this won't just be the Fantastic Four is the fact that we're not getting a Fantastic Four movie until Phase 5, so they're not officially entering into the MCU for a little while longer than presumably the X-Men will, because presumably the X-Men are going to be being hinted at, and whatever event will cause their creation will probably happen pretty soon. And addressing whether or not she would have enough power to do such a thing, to expand her reality to the entire planet, I need not remind anyone that her powers did come from an Infinity Stone, so I do not doubt that that is in her power. But with that said, that's all I have for this video. It's not a super long video, I just wanted to address this theory of mine and the concept of how I think mutants might come to be in the MCU. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then consider liking and subscribe to see more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk with you in the next one.